Please welcome with me, Susie Larson. Susie Larson on my couch. I'm so thankful that you're here. We have known each other for, well, we had a phone relationship, texting, Facebook, whatever. But I finally got to meet you yesterday, and you are just as lovely in person.
I feel the same about
you. Are long
Your sister of my heart, for sure.
Well, in the olden days, we called those pen pals, but it works a little differently now. But no, thank you for coming. You have, first of all, an amazing radio program that has such a far reach. You don't know exactly how far it reaches.
Yeah, I honestly should pay attention to such things.
Yeah, you should.
But I really focus on getting the best guests and having some of the best conversations, and we're really grateful.
Well, my husband and I were trying to figure that out the other day because both of the times I've been on your program, my website went crazy, the online store, lots of orders, and we were having a really hard time keeping up, and it was all what we were trying to film this, and so I said, oh my goodness, it happens every time I'm with Susie. So
fantastic.
People absolutely love you. Thank you for that. You and I share something in common that many people do not, and there is this buzz around adrenal fatigue now. Part of it is mysterious, and part of it is people who are just tired are saying they have adrenal fatigue, and it's not just being tired. In fact, in many ways, I didn't lose all of my energy, but that's mainly because I just pushed through, you know. So I'm really curious for you with the adrenal fatigue, like where did those symptoms start?
Well, I love that question because I think some confuse it with burnout. I don't think it always is equated with burnout. Sometimes it is. I've been burnt out 20-something years ago. This wasn't that.
No,
but just for a broader context for me, when I was a young mom, I was on bed rest for 6 months of the 9-month pregnancy. And during a day or two, the doctor let me get up to test the waters because I hadn't been contracting. And a long story short, met some girlfriends from college, went for a walk, and by night I was contracting. Within a week or two of that time up, my face started to go numb and my memory started to go. It was horrific and scary, and I just kept thinking, well, I have 3 more months. I got to keep this baby in the womb. Maybe I'm just stressed. And once we delivered our son, my health plummeted, and long story short, realized I was bit by the deer tick. A year later, I realized that. So in my early years as a mom with 3 little boys, I crawled through those seasons, had massive neurological issues, joint issues, fatigue, and that kind of a thing. And being a fitness-minded person and working in the fitness industry, I already was disciplined and focused with boundaries and that kind of a thing, and having gone through burnout, I'm super careful. So when I was diagnosed with adrenal fatigue a couple of years ago, it wasn't from burnout, it wasn't even from pushing too hard. We had a series of just unrelenting crises hit our family, and I had a book deadline ahead of me. Now with my day show, my radio show, I literally am reading 8 to 10 books a week. So I have a very intense day job. I love it, and I'm made for it. But between my radio show, a book deadline, and a broken heart, something exploded, and I had a massive Lyme relapse with stage 3 adrenal fatigue. And what I want to say is in me that I learned, and I'm actually writing about this in my next book, is that even though I was disciplined and focused, I eat well, I exercise, I guard my bedtime, I learned that what happens in your soul also happens in your cells. Something happens in our physiology when our hearts are broken, when our attitudes go south. And you know, for me, the adrenal fatigue happened during the Trump-Hillary election. And
the whole nation had adrenal fatigue, and political fatigue.
And my doctor's like, you have to stay away from toxic conversations. And I'm like, okay, how?
I'm a radio host.
The doctor's orders, I can't talk to you about this right now. But it was really quite a journey to walk through. And my problem was compounded with the issues of Lyme disease.
Well, you look great. So you tell me stories about how you were really debilitated. So how bad did it get for you?
You mean in this last relapse?
With the adrenal fatigue, yes.
Oh, well, you know, it really, again, I agree with you. It's not just fatigue. It feels like a lead blanket is put on your system. And for me, because the cortisone was so low, inflammation went up high, and I'm so susceptible to that, I had my neck went numb. I was having esophageal spasms. I literally, if I dropped my chin, my neck would go numb, and then my esophagus would spasm. I was getting food stuck in my throat 4 times a day. My intestines turned into a knot. I'd be minutes before going on the air, and a dizzy spell would come, and I would be completely undone, and I would hang on and try to focus so I could get through the interview.
This just makes me love you. You'd never know this from listening to your show.
Wow. It was hard, but God was with me, and I feel like I'm better for the battle. I really learned to put those roots down deeper. Amen.
So these are just, oh my goodness, 6 of her 15 books. I'm not strong enough to carry all of the books. This is the most recent. your powerful prayers. I'm just going to go through some of these. She has a lot of blessings book. Blessings for the morning, blessings for the evening, bless your, your beautiful purpose, your sacred yes, that's for later. And I want you to tell us about this one.
This is about remembering your heir status, praying from a place of identity, praying out of God's love, praying God's promises because they're true even if they don't feel true. Yeah.
All right, I want you to stay put because I'm going to bring a friend of both of ours out and we're going to continue the conversation, all right? Stay close. All right, friend. Well, you know, we've only been friends for a couple of years, and
3 years.
You literally have become one of my best friends. You are one of my biggest cheerleaders. Okay, so this guy, I know you're not going to believe this, but he has 9 children. 9 children, he and his wife, Lynette, yes. And I want you to just, first of all, I've never thanked you publicly for this, but you got on board early on, like in the first month of the book. And tell me about your experience with the first month.
Well, what was interesting is I was your publicist at the time, and I was like, man, this would be a great publicity stunt. Let's say I go on social media and I chronicle the experience. You know, not unlike you and Susie, I work really hard. I put in a lot of hours, and so at that time I was at a place where I just pushed myself too far, and I wasn't at a healthy weight and didn't sleep enough, and so I was like, well, let's just put this to the test and see if it really works. The proof is kind of in the pudding. If we could get results, well, I think people would buy the book.
And you have no idea how nervous I was. I kept thinking, if this doesn't work, like this guy is my new publicist at Baker Publishing and Chosen Books, and I thought, oh Lord, please let it work, because if this is good for him, this is his job to tell everybody, you know? If it doesn't, I'm off on the wrong foot with this guy. And oh my goodness, you were writing every week, you know, I'm down 2 pounds, down 4 pounds, down 6 pounds. I couldn't believe, I could hardly believe it. And then the pictures of you started changing, and we'll have some before and after pictures here in a second. But you really, it was that next month, like you continued, so you lost the 25, and I was like, everybody's, yeah, this is awesome, but you didn't want to stop. So what happened?
You know, I think what was really helpful for me is I like to have frameworks to operate within. And really up until that time, I just didn't have a framework to operate within for my health. And it just really got me to this rhythm of making different choices, making healthier choices. And really once I saw the success and the weight came off, I was like, well, man, I don't ever want to go back. And so I just, I was motivated to keep pushing forward.
And that is definitely what you did. And you've lost, how much did you wind up losing?
If I stay really consistent with my running, like 53, 54 pounds.
Yeah, so
overall,
now, so you're a runner, and I see it online all the time, you know, in socials, all your socials, that you just ran 5, 6, 7 miles, and you live where it's really, really cold. So I want you to just talk to us about discipline. Just look right at me and talk to me about discipline. So where does that come from? Is it from, I don't want to be overweight again, or is it, I feel so good, you know, I can't stop running? Which is it? I mean, is it like you really, which is it?
You know, I think it was, well, one, I don't ever want to go back to being in an unhealthy state. But I think for me, it was that I achieved success in being successful with the detox. And it really has motivated me, not only in my health, but in other areas of my life, that I can keep pushing forward and making positive changes. So I think it was just kind of a catalyst that's really allowed me to transform lots of areas of my life.
Well, I'm going to pull it out and just show everybody. It's called the 30-Day Faith Detox. And, renew your mind, cleanse your body, and heal your spirit. So it really was the first full-fledged body, mind, and spirit book that I had done. I've always included, you know, the body in all of my spirit and mind teaching books, but this one really was bringing it all together in a very comprehensive way. I want you to, because if you know, there's the 5 sections in it where we really break down your life in terms of the things that you need to, whether it's your finances or your health, your relationships, everybody has something. What was the one area in the book that just emotionally or spiritually really got to you, impacted your life the most? There's the 30 devotionals, you know, and so.
You know, I think at the end of the day, as I look back on it, it was really the making the connection of what I was doing in the physical, of changing my habits with what I was eating, but also the devotions, what I was reading and just meditating on, praying about, that it was this interesting melding of kind of what I'm doing in the physical and in the supernatural coming together.
Oh, that's
so it really
good.
just across all the different areas that you cover in the book, my family, finances, health, yeah, just the fact that those two things coming together in a real tangible way was something I'd maybe never quite experienced before.
That is really exciting to me, because that's what I want people to know, is that you cannot be whole unless you touch all three of those things. All right, we've got a minute left. Talk to us about the Shaun Tabatt Show. There's this whole other side of you, I know, that I just love.
Oh, well, and actually, the way Laura and I actually met is you came on and interviewed my podcast for your Dreams and Vision book, and so that's how we first met. But I've got a podcast. I've interviewed authors from all over the world, and I'd like to help people tell their stories and just get people excited about things that are happening across the world, especially with Christian media. So.
And you're very good at it. And now he is my marketing manager at Baker. Yes, I'm so excited. Shaun, stick around, because I'm going to bring Susie back out. She's one of his other authors. We're going to have a big time here, all right?
All right.
All right, be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Harris-Smith. This is theTHREE, and I am sitting with two of my favorite people right now. We are co-authors, okay? Let's say not of the same book, but we're both at Baker Publishing. This is Susie Larson, and she is on the Bethany House imprint. A publishing house has many imprints sometimes. I'm on the Chosen imprint, and this is our wonderful marketing manager, Shaun Tabatt. So we just were talking, during the break. On this show, we have so many hardcore issues that we dive into, that we really try to educate people on, spiritually, emotionally. I want us to just take a few minutes here and just motivate people physically, just in their bodies. You know if you need to make changes. You know if you're supposed to be getting up and moving more. You know when you step on the scales or you look in the mirror and your skin is all sallow, and so you need to be able to really hear what we're all saying today, which is that change is possible. So I'm going to shoot to you, Susie, and just ask you just to really encourage those people who they're down and they're tired and they don't know where to start. What's maybe one of the smallest changes that you can make?
Well, I want them to, first of all, believe that wellness is possible. I think so often we stay in our stuckness. We stay on the mat, and you hear Jesus saying, do you want to get well? And I think in a day we're so addicted to results. I mean, we're so addicted to instant results that we'll treat symptoms and not get to the core issue. But I know this because I've studied this and I've lived it, and I interview experts all the time, that there are tweaks we can make that can make a world of a difference. So I would say, guard your bedtime with all tenacity. I mean, create a window of time and guard it. I would say get rid of sugar, and I know that's a tough one, but I've learned it's huge behind inflammation, and inflammation has many different faces. I would increase your water intake. That one discipline my husband picked up, 10 glasses of water a day, lost 10 pounds in a month just from drinking more water. But I would also say, tell yourself that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. I think it's really important, the story you tell yourself, because we're almost in disagreement. God came to give us life and life abundantly, and yet so often our words bear witness against that very fact. So I would just say, make a few basic adjustments. Get some exercise would be fantastic as well. But look at what's coming out of your mouth. Guard your heart and your soul in a deep way, and you will be amazed at what God will do. He'll take that offering and He will multiply it.
Right. This is Susie Larson. I asked her for one tip, and she gives us this wealth of knowledge. No, seriously, because I was going to add some of those things on. When you have a health crisis, you really have to step back and you have to prioritize your life. Now, I'm not good at doing alone. My house is loud all the time, and so being on bed rest was really hard. I didn't like it. I didn't like being alone. I was writing a book. I was writing Seeing the Voice of God on bed rest. And I had gotten used to, through all the years of raising children and writing, it would be like book, baby, book, baby, book, baby, because I've written 20 books. And so I was used to writing in the chaos. And all of a sudden it was me and my thoughts and rest, and I was just miserable. But I also learned who my real friends were. The people that called and checked on me. The people that I thought would have, I didn't hear from them. When I was the giver and the energizer and pouring into the relationship and I fed them, that was good with them. But when it was my turn to cash in my chips, didn't happen. Right before that, I had a prophecy spoken over me. Someone said, Larry Randolph, we were at Sid Roth's together, and he said, the Lord says you're about to find out who your friends really are. And I was like, that's silly. I know who my friends are, you know. Boy, did I. It's the truth. When you're in recovery, you really have to prioritize. All right, so you tried to motivate us earlier with the exercise. Is there anything else? You just run, right?
Yeah.
So you're a runner. Were you a runner before? Did you try to run? Was it, because you're like killing it, man. Every day you're out there almost.
I ran cross country in high school, and so I kind of would go up and down where I'd run a lot, and then I gained a bunch of weight, went back and run a lot. And so I kind of went back and forth, yo-yoed for a lot of years. And so I've just maintained it and been consistent with it since doing the detox twice now.
There is no better way to keep the weight off than putting it out there on social media. And I mean, he was every day. He had the pictures and what he was drinking, and it's just accountability, really. That's what I
used it for, accountability, really.
Yeah, and you can't ever gain the weight again, or I look bad.
I know.
It's going to look like the book didn't work, you know.
That's
so,
right.
and we have people all over the world who write us and tell us, you know, they've lost weight, but more than anything, they've gained faith. It's a book on faith in the end. So I want to add to what you said, that the reason that sugar, yes, most definitely sugar. And you don't miss it. After you change your palate, you really don't. But I would add to that wheat. Wheat is very hard on the body to process. So I gave it up simply because my organs didn't need anything else to do but heal. Every one of my organs was beginning to shut down. And I felt so good off of it that when I was totally well, I was like, why am I going back to Egypt? I feel like I'm in my 20s. You know, I'm 53. And so I am not going to go back to the foods and, you know, that got me into that condition. I'm not going to let these little bumps on my tongue, the taste buds, control my life. And so in the very beginning, it was, here's Mom's shelf in the pantry. This is what Mom eats. And everybody else ate from the rest. Well, guess what? What Mom eats winds up happening to the family. Now it's all of our pantry, you know, and all the living foods as well, which are in your refrigerator and your fruit bowl and all of that. So you guys are both real heroes. You challenge me all the time. No, seriously, you go to a hotel, I know you're traveling, and you'll be in there and you'll be on the treadmill. You do it indoors, you do it outdoors. You live where it's almost sub-degree weather. You run then, so you got good shoes to protect your knees, right?
Yep.
I'm always concerned about you there, okay? Well, guys, thank you so much. It's just been a joy. I'm going to plug Susie's book one more time, the latest one, Your Powerful Prayers, Reaching the Heart of God with a Bold and Humble Faith. If anybody can write that, it's you. It's you. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, thank you for being on this edition of theTHREE, and I'm hoping that today you were inspired. If you were, I would really love to hear from you. You can write me at laura@thethree.tv. All right, we'll see you next time, everybody. Take care.